I actually don't like going to lean conferences. It's too high level, it's too theoretical. I was just craving, somebody to talk to about lean.
I think people are kind of starved for that connection with like-minded people.
It's all these conversations with people who are into the same thing as you. This is what really boosts your lean journey to the next level.
So Ryan, 10 years ago, you were like a lot of the fine people listening and watching this. You had just started your lean journey. You were binging loads and loads of YouTube videos. You were reading books. You were doing all this sort of stuff. You were trying to make changes to your factory. But things really started to take off for you whenever you actually took it offline. So you went from the digital world to the real world, as it were.
Yeah.
What was your experience of like actually going somewhere physically for the first time?
Yeah, when I came across lean, it was all YouTube, podcasts. I was listening to all this content, but it didn't really hit for me until I set my feet on a factory floor. And the first company actually I went to see, or one of the first, was actually Fast Cap in America, Paul Akers' company. Because I'd been watching Paul for probably about 6 months at that point. And honestly, in the back of my head, I thought, is all this edited for YouTube? I didn't 100% trust what I was seeing.
You show up to the factory and it's just like a painting and you push it down and behind there's all this mess, all this dirt. You're like, I knew it.
So I had to see for myself, is this real? And it wasn't until I stood on the factory floor, went around and talked to people who were doing lean that I really got it, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, and there is something to be said as well. Like whenever you are watching something online, there is that skepticism. And there's also like a big gap. It's like what do you call it? The knowing gap?
The difference between knowing and doing.
Yeah. And there is something that's like, it's fine to read all these self-help books or in any domain, but it's actually whenever you see it physically in real life, that's whenever the penny can really drop. The other thing I think it's important to mention is it's very lonely as well. Here you are in Northern Ireland 10 years ago, you're like 26. You've got this business that's you're struggling, you're not sure how you can keep this going. And then, no one around you is doing lean. You see this crazy American guy, no offense, Paul, lots of love. And people say the same thing about you now, by the way. They say, this crazy Irish guy. So you're carrying on the legacy well. You're not surrounded by people like that in your local area at all.
That's right. And there was nobody doing lean locally when we started. And I was just craving, somebody to talk to about lean. And there is a huge lean community in Northern Ireland and the South as well, which is brilliant. But back then there wasn't. But it wasn't until you were face to face with somebody that was really into lean that you really took it to the next level. That's what I found anyway.
There's something about, I don't know what the scientific term for it is. I'm going to use the word osmosis, which doesn't make any sense. But like there is something about like being in a room with like-minded people that really starts to kind of like, maybe it's more like a virus. It kind of like really infects you.
Yeah.
And I've seen this like in lots of different domains. The 2 Second Lean Summit included, where I wasn't a lean guy at all. It's like Mark and I, we were just like digital podcast tech bros, and we were showing up there. And by the end of it, we were like, yeah, we want to start a factory. Like, oh my goodness, like da 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 da. But why do you think in person like does that to people?
I think if we think about what lean manufacturing is or what lean is, we're working with physical. We're working with physical factories. We're making physical products most of the time. Most companies that are doing lean, we're working with real people and real tools and real workbenches and factory. It is a very physical thing. And to think that you can just learn all about lean online, I don't think is reasonable. I think you need to get your feet on a factory floor. You need to sit down with people who are doing lean to really strengthen that learning, because lean is a physical thing, and the best way to learn a physical thing is to physically do it. I think.
Yeah, and I mean the key thing as well is like someone else's factory floor.
Yeah,
because you can be so stuck in a rut, like looking at your own thing, and you've no idea what other changes you can make. You think, I don't know, like, is there any changes I can make? Like, and then you go somewhere else, you're like, oh, okay. Yeah. I'm like 1% of where I could be now that I see Michael's factory in Germany, or now I see Paul's factory in Ireland. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you get all the money together, you fill out your visa application, you go. Like, tell me about whenever you came back from that trip. Like, you end up back in the factory. Like, tell me about the positives and negatives of that kind of like afterglow, that honeymoon effect of just being around all these lean maniacs.
Yeah, well, something really changed, and that's the reason we wanted to do this podcast, is that we need to take lean off the digital and into the physical. It's not until I went to see Paul's factory. It's not until I went to see Michael Althaus' factory in Germany. It's not until I went to Japan. It's not until I went to physical lean summits, not online lean summits, physical lean summits, where you're sitting around a table with other lean people. You're having a chat, in the bar afterwards. It's all these conversations with people who are into the same thing as you. This is what really boosts your lean journey to the next level. It really is. Because to be honest, I thought a lot of the stuff was edited for YouTube. And when I went out to see how good all these companies were, they were actually better than YouTube.
Right.
Not the same, better. I was like really, really impressed. And you can't get all that depth. You can't get feeling from YouTube, I suppose, or a podcast. There's something about physically being there that you can't replace.
Big time. And I know your story pretty well, obviously, after, many, many conversations over a microphone like this. Am I right in saying as well that when you came back, like you were all fired up and that the passion that you had wasn't necessarily matched by everyone else? They were probably like, what on earth did he drink in America? He's come back even more riled up.
Aye, absolutely. Because at the start it was me going to these conferences, going to lean events, going to see factories, and there's only so much of that you can bring back. There is. You can take photographs and videos, and you try to be as the best communicator you can when you come back, but there's nothing like seeing it.
I mean, there's also the reality. It's like, dead on, Ryan, while you were over in America, I was here building chairs.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Lucky for some, good for you. But this is my job you're talking about, and I'm here doing the work. And like, why should I care about this, this lean thing that you're all obsessed with as well?
Yeah.
I think that's one of the really hard things, is bringing people along the journey with you. And I think it's actually like one of the things that you do incredibly well is that, because like I'm certainly guilty of like getting really excited about something, but it's hard to then like have the humility and go through that slow process of actually then like bringing people on the journey with you.
Yeah, because in your head you're 10 steps ahead, and you forget that everybody else hasn't even started, and it's going back a few steps to realise, all right, I need to go a bit slower and bring everybody with me.
Yeah, and that's something that I've seen you do in real time is, we've had the pleasure and the privilege of like going with you to different places now. So, you very kindly took us with you whenever you went to visit Toyota in England, to the, the car factory. Yeah. And we also went over with, people from Seaton Matters, people from your business, like key people in the business that you were investing in, you were pouring into. I hear if you go and, Ryan's away with that person over to this place and they're over to this place. So you started to bring the people with you. I guess that was trial and error. You kind of realize like it can't just be me that goes anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. And the benefit of taking those people when you come back, it's just day and night.
I just keep that in. Actually, it's just the enthusiasm is just leaking out of Ryan here. So maybe a good journalist, So Ryan, why did it make all the difference? It
just does.
How were they whenever they came back?
Especially from Toyota. I remember Darren in particular came back. Darren's our head designer here at Seaton Matters. He just, it was like getting a brain transplant.
Yeah.
He just couldn't think the same way again. But if I had have came back and said to Darren, I've seen all this really cool stuff at Toyota, it's so watered down by the time.
Yeah. I'm glad that we dug there, because that was a golden nugget you just dropped there. It was like having he had a brain transplant. Mm-hmm. And it's like, imagine you coming home and trying to say, all right, Darren, I'm going to now like transplant your brain right now. He'd be like, get off my head. Don't touch me. Don't cut my skull open. I think that's what it can feel like sometimes whenever someone's really trying to push something onto you. Mm-hmm. Whereas like if Darren can go himself and that process can happen inside of him without any kind of influence from you, like that's actually like where change actually happens, because yourself, it's like impossible to change people. People are who actually change themselves. And so getting out of your environment, going to somewhere new, interfacing with different people, completely different cultures, blah, blah, blah. I mean, that's a very powerful way to do that.
Yeah, it is.
So you've got something for us, as always. The most exciting news ever. But genuinely, like this is big.
It is. So what we're going to be talking about now is the announcement of the Gemba Summit. Mm-hmm. So this is a lean summit which will be held this year on the 20th and 21st of October. And it's going to be in one of the most iconic event spaces in Belfast, actually, the Titanic Belfast, which you're very familiar with.
It's genuinely phenomenal,
isn't it?
Yeah. I remember being there as a teenager when it just had opened, and it was like one of the most memorable nights of my life. Like, there's in like the conference hall, there's like a wee like staircase, and it's like the actual staircase, you know, a replica of like what was in the Titanic, and the whole building itself is like, even like all these years later, it's like super modern.
Yeah.
The tour, like I still like my wife's from Germany, and we get so many visitors, even like mates from America and stuff, and we still take them to that building because it's still so good. So, you know, it's the best venue in Belfast, you know, and all of Northern Ireland, and the fact that you're bringing Lean to that place feels almost strange to me, because even though I've seen Lean go global, Lean's kind of still very much for me. It's like it's in Limavady and it's in Japan and it's in there, but the fact now it's like in this Titanic building is like very, very interesting.
Yeah, it is. And the Gemba Summit is a joint venture between myself and Tom Hughes, between Lean Made Simple and Gemba Docs. So it was actually Tom that come up with this idea to hold a summit, and we started talking back and forward, and we thought, yes, let's do it. There's no better time. The appetite for lean at the minute in Ireland, north and south, is huge. People are starting to travel from all over the world to come to Ireland to see what's going on, what's all this craziness about. Why is there so much excitement and passion around lean?
Yeah.
And we thought this is the perfect time.
Yeah, and there's such an appetite for in person as well. You know, like the post-COVID years, everything went remote, and there's kind of this moment where like everyone thought that remote was going to be this kind of big, massive, exciting moment, and I think we're kind of like now living in a bit of the fallout of that, of like everyone's starting to like stop remote working, and big companies are trying to bring people back in the office. I mean, manufacturing never really had the luxury of ever working remotely. You can't weld something remotely. You know what I mean?
That's right.
And so I think people are kind of starved for that connection with like-minded people, and you know, whenever you hosted the 2-second Lean Summit here, you know, a couple of years ago with Paul, like that was just mind-bending to have like all these lean maniacs in the one room. And like we still have like friends that we talk to all the time that we've met at that, locally and like globally.
Yeah.
So what struck me about that conference, and I know like what you guys are looking to do with this new Gemba Summit, is it is going to be different to your traditional conference.
It is.
So in what way? Because I also think people are kind of burnt out of the standard cliche conference. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I'll just be very honest. As you know, I can be. I actually don't like going to lean conferences. And people might be surprised to hear me saying that, but most lean conferences I find very boring. It's too high level. It's too theoretical.
What were you like as a kid in the classroom in school? I never actually asked you about your school life.
That turned very deep very quick.
You should have invited me to go opposite. Did you like school growing up? Like, would you sit there and you enjoy the lessons and take your notes?
Not really, to be honest.
See,
no.
the hunch never fails.
I didn't enjoy school at all. Although I was okay at it, I didn't enjoy it.
But that's what a lot of conferences feel like to me. It's like back to school days where it's like, oh.
It is, yeah. It's just monotone, and I end up being sleepy at the end of them. And drained. So we wanted to design something totally different, and myself and Tom have got our heads together and come up with something that's going to be the kind of summit that will be talked about for years.
Yeah,
it will, because one of the things that Tom really wanted was loads of space for people to communicate and network. Because we found that any conferences that we've been at in the past, you know, there's only like a 15-minute break or a 30-minute break.
Oh man,
and you know, we haven't got time to connect with other people.
Yeah, you're waiting for the speakers to stop so you can get to the good bit.
That's right.
Yeah, if you want to go really deep here, one of my favorite quotes. Here we go. Buckle up, everybody. It says, "It's the space in between the notes that make the music." And I always think that, like, if you just want to talk about conferences, it's like you mentioned it earlier. It's like the conversations in the bar at like 2 a.m. with Brad Cairns. It's the in between, you know, speaker A and speaker B, the conversation that you have with Trevor. It's those wee moments that I actually think like value is really being exchanged. So like I was excited to accept the invitation to host the conference because I knew that you guys would prioritize that. I knew you guys would do something a little bit different because, yeah, I mean, I also didn't want to be part of a conference that was just going to be like the school days either. So the fact that you guys know like where the value is actually happening and you're actually putting it front and center and prioritizing that, I mean, it's just going to be very, very exciting for everyone who's there.
It is. And we're going to have keynote speakers, but also loads of breakout sessions. And these are going to be really practical, actionable things that you can go away and do. You can implement these things into your business literally the next day after the summit. So the goal for the summit is to give 350 people a brain transplant. And that's what we're going for with this. It really is.
Yeah. And then, so it's 2 days in that kind of practical environment, sharing insights from all the factories of all the people that come from around the world. Keynotes are used as like a bit of a inspiration to like get the conversations going and, share the nitty gritty details of everyone who's there.
Yeah.
Then the third day, it's like a breakout day. It's like a field trip day. Like, tell us about that.
The third day is something really different again, and something that we've never seen before, myself or Tom. We've never seen it at a conference. So the third day is going to be a factory tour day, but it's a bit different in that we're setting up a website and we're putting all the lean organisations in Ireland, North and South, on this website. And all the attendees from the event can go on there and book factory tours. So the point and the purpose of that is to raise the standard of the lean community. If people know there's somebody coming to view their factory, they're going to increase their standards. So it's not about everybody visiting Spare Metal. It's not about everybody visiting Seating Matters. We want people to visit loads and loads of companies. We want to get 15, 20, 25, 30 companies to the level of Seating Matters. Imagine that. And this is the first step to going there.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So 350 people?
Yeah.
And am I right in saying that one of the things that makes us different about other conferences as well is that you're actually actively encouraging people to bring not just the CEO of the company, but also like some of the key people that work on the Gemba as well?
Yeah, and that's why it's called the Gemba Summit, because we want people from the Gemba to go to the summit. It's the forgotten people that are left back at home normally when the boss and the manager gets to go to the summit, and all the people that are actually the ones doing lean and the people that are excited about lean are left behind.
Right.
So we have designed this summit in a way that companies will bring 4, 5, 6, up to 10 people with them, so that all that energy is going back after the summit.
Right.
That's the difference in this conference and a normal lean conference.
Yeah, and not to disrespect CEOs or anything like that, or owners of companies, but it is a different dynamic in the room if you're at a conference with 350 CEOs versus 350 people like Paddy.
Yeah.
And the amount of knowledge that Paddy has about lean could run circles around a lot of the CEOs that I know of manufacturing companies.
Yeah.
So in terms of like what these people will also be able to contribute to the conversations is like insane, because you could have some guy giving some theoretical idea about lean, and then you'd have someone like, Paddy be like, actually, that's not what it's like at all. I do this, all day, every single day. That's not what it's like. Let me tell you what it's like. And that just leads to better cross-pollination of knowledge, better learning, and as you say, better practical transformation at the end of it as well.
Yeah, it is really exciting. It really is.
That's cool. So, there is such a community around the world of lean people and the WhatsApp groups and all these online communities and stuff. And like the buzz whenever these people come together in real life is class. Yeah. And it's an opportunity. I know a lot of people have always wanted to come and see Seating Matters. People who watch your YouTube channel, people who listen to the podcast are like, but to fly to Ireland just to have, one factory tour, like, it's tough. Is it really worth it? It's like, now it's like a really good excuse. It's like, you have the summit. You can come and see Seating Matters if you've always wanted to see it. And then you can come and see all these other lean companies that are here in Ireland that are of a world-class standard as well. I mean, we had people last time at the 2 Second Lean Summit, like people coming over with their whole families. Remember Norm came over with his family and they did Ireland, I think, for the first time. It felt like half the attendees did a big motorbike tour or something together. Right. And you're in the WhatsApp group afterwards, you're like, what are you doing all the way down there and exploring the coasts and eating chippies and going to these pubs and going to that pub? And then Belfast itself, like, just, it's really, really interesting city. Been through a lot of change. It's in a bit of a golden age. And so, I think there's plenty of excuses, shall we say, for people to make the trip over, and this is just a good opportunity to do that as well.
There is, and we want to make it clear that it is a global summit. We're welcoming people from all over the world to come. Absolutely are.
Brilliant. Dates, pricing. 350 people, did you say?
Yep, 350 people,
Cool.
20th and 21st of October this year. And the tickets are only $649. We're making it that price so that you can bring, a good few people from your company. There's conferences out there for 3 times that.
Sure.
So it's the reason we're doing it is to spread the message of lean, and I'm very, very passionate about that, and so is Tom. And we think this is the event that will almost be a turning point for a lot of people and will really boost what they've been trying to do with lean.
Big time. I think it's it marks a real turning point in Irish manufacturing as well. I know you've shared your heart loads of times about how you see Ireland becoming, the next Japan.
Yeah.
And you kind of alluded to it earlier, but there seems to be something in the water. There's something going on here. And a lot of people are really interested in seeing it. Like, why are so many Irish companies adopting lean? Why is this kind of revolution happening? Why is there this huge movement? And so, yeah, I guess it's a chance to come and see it firsthand.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate it. And thank you so much for listening and watching. And there will be a link in the description below if you're interested in grabbing your tickets. I know Ryan will look forward to meeting you. I'll look forward to seeing you there. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Thank you.
See ya.